All right, so let's get into this. So this presentation is going to be about all the free resources that you can utilize that are available on the internet. I have a page on my website that already kind of goes over all of this, and this is everything that we'll be talking about. All the Google applications, a CRM called HubSpot, Mailchimp, later, some website building platforms like WordPress, Elementor, WooCommerce, how I utilize those, what I use to schedule appointments and integrate with my calendars, and then my favorite, Zapier. And then we'll be touching on a lot more, not everything that's just included in this web page, but in case anyone is curious, you can visit this at dos-m.com/free-resources. And I'll make sure to include a link wherever this video is posted. But before I actually get started on this presentation, I just want to give a little background about myself. My name is Tyler. I own the business Digitally Optimized Systems to Marketing. And in this business, I like to say I'm a digital optimization agency, not really just a marketing agency. And the reason for that is I do more than just marketing. I've seen in my experience as a digital optimization specialist is that the businesses that succeed the most are the ones that have systems that support their marketing. And I also believe that there's kind of three pillars to this all. So there's systems and marketing, like I talked about, but there's also websites. That's kind of like the foundation for all this to happen is you need a website. And then systems help support it, and marketing is what makes it look good. So let's get started in all the free virtual tools or systems that you can use in your own business to make it a little bit more easier to manage in your own workflow. So first things first, Google is God. I always like to say that. The reason for my success is because of this thing right here, the search bar, the search engine. It's a fantastic resource to use. Anytime you have a question, just throw it in here, and that's going to help you out dramatically. I mean, that's just simple information. I'm not really sharing any golden nuggets right there in that second. But I always like to just make this little disclaimer. Secondly, if you have a service-based business, then you're going to want to set up a Google My Business profile. And let's say like you're searching for hair salon near me. Well, this is where the Google My Business comes into play. It's going to and it wants to know my location because it wants to recommend businesses that are in close proximity to me. So I'm out near Southbridge, and it's saying that these are all the closest hair salons, and you need a Google My Business profile to really benefit from this. So going back to over here, so let's look at my business's Google My Business profile, for example. Not really necessary since I'm a service-based business that's more national and global, not really a local service. There's not too many people in my little rural area that are actively seeking out a marketing agency or anything like that, but still just for the sake of showing clients how beneficial it is, and just so that way I can be familiar with it, I have my own for my business. And essentially what this is, it's to provide resources for people to get in contact with your business. So you provide as much info as possible, and you're pretty much listing like your website, your hours, what days you're closed, how people can get in contact with you, what services you offer, a little bit about yourself. This is where a lot of people like to store their reviews, and this is also how you reply to them. And then you can also do a variety of other things like showcase photos or things of that nature. And this is a free tool that you can utilize, and it has such a big impact. Like I said, if you're locally based and have something that people in close proximity can benefit from. So, I mean, this is relevant in all varieties of industries, whether you're in the the construction industry, or even like the example of a hair salon. But restaurants are particularly important. If you have a restaurant or any kind of food service, like you're definitely going to need a Google My Business profile on top of a few other things. And this is all free. There's no cost to it, and that's how you rank in Google. So a great resource to use. Secondly, we're going to look at Google Analytics. So this is just for a site that I set up just this week, but let's go to my Google Analytics profile for my website. So Google Analytics, again, it's a free tool that you can utilize that gives you an accurate insight into how your website is performing over any course of time. So particularly when I'm looking at my Google Analytics profile, I go straight into acquisition channels, and this is so I can identify where visitors are coming from to my site. So I set up my own custom tracking campaigns, so that way I can actively see where people are coming from like non-typical things. So for example, I did a podcast advertisement on books closed. So I can see that this is how many people came over like the last 7 days from that podcast and how they're interacting with it. And I can also see Facebook, because I had a custom campaign for Facebook that doesn't show up under social media, so that's showing up here. Chicago is a presentation that I did for the Chicago Elementor meetup group, and then customer stickers are for, I have all these little stickers that I put on like gifts that I send my clients, and this is just so I can track and see who's actually interacting with those QR codes that I set up. But overall, this allows me to know who's coming from other things like, let's see if it'll go back, like directly searching my website, who's coming from paid traffic like Google Ads, who's coming from organic search, like who's finding my website on the web, who's coming from like social media like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then whose referral sources. So this is just helping me actively identify where I should be focusing my attention in terms of marketing. And then you can also implement goals, and it's kind of crucial that you do implement goals because you'll see what's actually getting you the best return on investment. So thank you is my goal of like when someone submits a form, they get redirected to this thank you page, and that's how I know I had a customer, or not really a customer but a lead. And if you have an e-commerce store, you'll see that there's a tab for e-commerce. I have an e-commerce store, but it's not the focus of my website. It's mainly just for show and tell, just to or kind of to implement as like a portfolio so I can show clients like, hey, this is what I can do for you. But really there's no real like services or products on my store that I actively send traffic to get revenue. So that's why you don't see actually any revenue there. But if you did have like a store, you would see all those numbers pulling up right here. So you would know like, okay, well, I made $1,000 from paid search and I made $5,000 from direct. Well, let's focus a little bit more on direct because it's getting me a better return on investment, things of that nature. And then there's a variety of other things you can do. Like you can pull demographic data, like who's the age, gender of people visiting your site. There's just so many applications with this that if you have a website, you essentially need Google Analytics. Next, we're going to look at another. This is technically free to use. Like you can get a Google AdWords account and not actually spend any money on ads, but really you need to be spending money to get the benefits from it. But the reason why I wanted to show this is because I use the Google Ads Keyword Planner tool almost every single week. And let's go use continuously hair salon, just because I need a haircut. It's been a while, but hair salon near me. And this is going to pull up data based on that search of how many people are actually searching it. And then you can go over here and change the location. So again, if you're a locally based business and let's say you only serve like Essex County, New Jersey, well, then you can pull up all the data for Essex County and you know, oh, wow, 3,600 people actively search that every month. And then this is what people are paying to show their advertisements to these potential searches. And you can also identify what other things people are searching because you might think that people are searching one phrase, but really they're searching another. So when I was working with painting contractors, I always made sure to do this research first because in some areas of the country, people would say painting kitchen cupboards, and in others they would say painting kitchen cabinets, or in another completely different way of saying it is refinishing cabinetry. So there's all these little specific terms and phrases that people search on the web. So it's important to actively know your data, know your audience, and making sure that the data is crucial. Everything I'm showing you in the beginning is all about data, and that's because I strongly believe in data. Next, we're going to look at Google Search Console. Again, a free tool from Google. If you haven't learned by now, Google provides some amazing free tools to utilize for your business, so make sure to adapt all of them. I mean, a lot of people are tied into like Outlook or other calendars and things like that, but I highly suggest embracing Google Mail as well as Google Calendar, just because once you're in the ecosystem, it's easier to go across everything else. But anyway, Search Console is extremely important for SEO with a website. This is how you know what people are actually coming to your website based off what searches. Since I primarily target tattoo artists as clientele, you'll see that a lot of my clicks come from certain phrases related to the tattoo industry. And my most popular blog article is getting me the most amount of searches from this keyword, tattoo hashtags 2021. And I can also see what pages are bringing traffic to my site, kind of what devices are interacting with it, things of that nature. Another great feature to Google Search Console is the fact that it has where is it? Mobile usability. So this is essentially letting you know. So you'll see over here on these days that there is some errors with my mobile on my site. So content wider than the screen, clickable elements too close together. Like this is essentially what that will let you know if your website isn't ideal for Google's crawlers, because SEO is extremely important to your business. You want to make sure that you're doing everything correctly. And if you have any issues on your website, Google Search Console will let you know, and then you can go in and fix them. So as soon as I get these little notifications, I go in and fix these pages. But again, it's also useful for knowing what terms are being searched. Another great Google application is Google Optimize. This is perfect for A/B testing, but you also get some personalization with it. So you'll see in my own Google Optimize account, I've done a lot of A/B tests, but there's also a few of these little personalization features that I have. So when someone goes to my website's homepage, if you're in New England, that's what this one is. So New England personalization. So if you're within any of the New England states and you go to my website, you will see creative solutions for creative entrepreneurs in New England. And then because I was specifically targeting this big client in Tulsa, I had one that did that for Tulsa. I don't even know if I'm saying that city correctly, but I had one that would do it for that city as well, just so that way they saw that personalization. And when I have all the time in the world on my hands, I'll make sure to do this for every location possible. But it's just a great way to just get that little extra of customization to your website that makes it look a little bit more professional. And again, A/B testing is super useful to know what's performing best on your site, because there's no such thing as nothing's perfect. Things can be continuously improved upon. So that's why I really like A/B tests. And again, the data backs all this up. I'm always looking for data. Google Optimize helps provide that data. If you like data like I do, Data Studio is a great free resource that Google provides as well. I'm personally not utilizing it too much, but once I start doing monthly reports for a few of my clients, I'll be using this just because I can actively, they have perfect examples right here of what you can actually use it for, like your YouTube channel report, Google Ads, Search Console. I'm fine going into those platforms myself and just peeking around. I don't really need one of these custom reports, but it is nice if there comes a time where I need something at a quick glance to have all the stuff that I actively search for. I might create one of these sooner rather than later, just because it is beneficial and I'm not taking advantage of it myself. But someone else might see the use of it. Next is another kind of data tool. This is kind of more important for seeing how people interact with your website. So you can specifically see, like this is called Microsoft Clarity, and it can generate heat maps, but I use it for this recording feature. So when someone visits my website, I'm just trying to find a good example, but when someone visits my website, I can specifically watch how they interact with my website. So I can see if things are appearing weird on their screens because every device is different, and this will help me know if like my website isn't optimized for all devices. But it also lets me see how people are interacting with my landing pages. I have all these clickable elements on my landing pages because of this. I want to see what people are interacting with, so I know where to focus my time and attention when I'm doing web optimizations. Next on the list, we're going to be tackling a lot real quick here. But next on the list is a CRM called HubSpot. Not every CRM is the same, but I personally love HubSpot. And this is a free tool that you can utilize. I'm using the free version of HubSpot, and it works perfectly for my needs. And what this does is it keeps track of everything that I got going on in my business. So here's my dashboard, and you can see everything live on like what I'm doing. So it's kind of like Data Studio, but a little bit more relevant to me just because this is the main pieces of data that I'm looking for. First things first is I utilize the tasks feature within HubSpot. Previously, I was using Asana, and we'll touch on Asana later, to organize like the task and everything that I had to do. But right here, I have it on my dashboard to see what I have going on for the week or upcoming weeks. So today, I have to finish a few things. I have to talk to Estimate Rocket. I got that done, so I can mark that task off I can mark that as completed once I actually get over to there. I have to finish my monthly blogs. That one's gonna probably be overdue. I have to get ready for an SEO presentation for next week. So that's gonna be due on Friday. And then I have to follow up with these 2 clients about some website stuff. Next over here, I can see what's just been going on. So over the last 30 days, these are all the contacts that I've created, what deals I've got set up, what deals that I've actually closed and won work on. And then just over here, some more data of just like how I'm performing on like a like month-to-month basis. So I've been sending a lot more emails this month. I've been leaving a lot more notes. I've been adding more tasks. So I've been busier. I've had a real busy March, and this little table over here reflects that. And it's just nice to see sometimes, like, you might feel busier, but really things are not as busy in terms of like what you're actually engaging in the CRM. But this is a good example of how busy I actually am for the month. Over here, we're seeing like where people are, like where my contacts are coming from: organic search, offline sources, other campaigns. And this plays in with like your Google Analytics, for example. Like if I was getting better paid results, you would see that it was here. But here's also some more data on all of the paid campaigns that I have going on with Google Ads as well as Facebook. And I can see what my cost per click is, because that's super important to me. I want to know how much I'm spending on my campaigns that I'm running. And if I have to, I'll go dig deeper on those platforms themselves. But this is just a great, just quick look. And then I can change this like per week, per month, whatever the timeline I want to look at. And then here's all the deals that I got going on. These are all the services that I perform for my clients. I currently have this one in progress, and I can see who didn't proceed with something, who is still in like kind of my pipeline. And then over here, I can see where all my customers are at. So I had a bunch that were just leads. Here's people that qualify for marketing, so they might receive emails from me at a later date. One's an opportunity, like I should go after this one, and one actually turned into a customer. And these are just people who are just a waste of time that I shouldn't pursue any further. Over here is just like showing me how many people came in as contacts. So I had a podcast advertisement that launched on the 15th or 14th, and you'll see that I got a big burst of contacts created after that podcast went live. And that's just, again, helping me keep track of the data. And then here's people who've been interacting with my site. I can see the number of sessions that they had. And this is just good to know, because these are everyone that I've been talking to, trying to get some work scheduled and build websites for, or build systems behind what they do. And I have all this information right here. And then HubSpot is just great. Like, let's go look at like Jared Smith. He's a prime example of like who I work with. And you'll see right here, like, you get all their contact information on the side. So that way, if he calls me, I can just pull up his information, see where he's at, what his information is, or if I need to get a hold of him, I can just find it right here and then get in contact. And then I have all this activity for everything that him and I have been working on. I can see when he interacts with my site, how he interacts with it, the emails that I've sent to him, the notes that I leave. Like I said, emails, if I had any tasks associated, and then if I want to incorporate meetings, those get pulled into here. And then all these things here on the side, like if I had like a deal that I was trying to put together, an estimate that I sent over, you would see it over here on this side, but we haven't got to that point with Jared yet. So this is just keeping me on track with all my clients, so that way I'm always organized and no one falls through the cracks. Super useful. Highly recommend a CRM. Not all of them are the same. HubSpot's great because it offers so many features within its free version. If you are interested in paying for it, you're going to pay a price. It's not cost effective whatsoever, but you can make do with the free version for as long as I am. You just have certain things that you can't do. So like there's certain like report functions you can't utilize, all of like the email templates. There's certain advantages to the paid features, but they're not necessary. Next, we're going to look at Mailchimp. So Mailchimp has, again, a great free plan for what I currently need. I'm not actively going out doing monthly email campaigns or anything like that, so I don't need anything fancy. All I need is just a place to store this email list of people, everyone in my CRM, for example. And once someone gets added to my CRM, it automatically gets inputted into this list. And then also with, like, you'll see right here, there's some tags. So if someone contacts me on my website, you'll see that they get tagged as web form. And then if they contact me from a specific tattoo page, I know they're tattoo artists. So let's say like next month I want to do an email campaign for tattoo artists. I already have this list put together, built out, nothing I had to do to get this all together. All I have to do is create the email at that point. But like I said, I'm not doing too many email campaigns, so I don't really need to do any of this stuff. It's just when the time comes for me to send out like monthly emails or newsletters, I already have my list put together and it's super simple to use. And I'm just already familiar with Mailchimp. And it's got some other cool features in the free platform. Next, we're going to take a look at my website. So I use WordPress to build all my websites and my client websites. It's just my go-to. WordPress is great because there's a lot of free things within it. Pretty much everything that I use is free other than Elementor Pro. So Elementor is how I build my websites. So they're built inside of WordPress, but Elementor is how I get things to look how I want them. There's a free version of Elementor that gets the job done. It's just as a professional website designer, I need the full package. So I do pay for Elementor Pro. But WordPress is great. Like when you're considering a website, I highly recommend a WordPress website because it's going to set you up best for the future. And then with WordPress, you get WooCommerce incorporated in it. And again, like I'm not actively having a store on my website. Like I'm not trying to get orders. Like it's just some art and photography that I do as a hobby that I displayed on here for the sake of saying like I can build out an e-commerce site if you need to for my clients. But some of my other client websites, I built out full e-commerce stores through WooCommerce. And this is pretty much free for what you need, but there's paid plugins that you can get. For example, if you need monthly things sent out to someone, if you want a specific payment method to come through, there's all these additional add-ons. I think they're called extensions right here that you can pay for, but they have free ones. Yeah, see, bookings $250. But I mean, there's a free solution to everything on the web. That's the beauty of it. But essentially what I'm trying to say is I use WordPress, Elementor, and WooCommerce, and these are all free to use for a website. Really, the only thing that I'm paying for a website is Elementor Pro, and then my hosting. And I use SiteGround as a hosting company, and you can get away with the $6.99 a month one. Personally, I have the GoGeek one just because I host a variety of websites, but really all you need is this $7 a month, which is dramatically cheaper than Squarespace. And like I said, you can get the beauty of like a page builder with Elementor for free, and you're not spending as much on a Squarespace site. So something to consider. Again, this is something that I don't personally use, but I've used it in the past and something I will be using in the future. This is Later. It's a scheduling platform for all your social media. I currently don't advertise on social media or really focus on my social media channels just because my business is only about 6 months old currently, and I'm trying to create as much content as possible. I just built this, like this was something I got set up like 3 months ago when I was first considering embracing social media, but I decided it would be best for me to get as much content as possible so that way I could plan out months in advance worth of posts. So that way it's not something I have to do on an ongoing basis. And that's the beauty of Later. And you can get that with the free version is you can put in all your media and then you can plan out your grid. You can plan out like the best time to post everything, and it kind of runs on its own at that point. There might be a little bit of things that you have to do right then and there so it actually does get posted. But pretty much this is a great free tool to utilize if you are trying to plan out social media and want something that's a little bit more intuitive. And there's a lot of great features within it beyond just scheduling your posts. Next, we're going to talk about calendars. I love calendars. I use them in my own business. This is my discovery call calendar. It's how I send this link out to pretty much everyone. I don't use this actual link up here at the top. If I'm asking someone to schedule an appointment with me, I say go to calendar. Let's see if I can spell it correctly. Calendar, then my website.com. And that just redirects them to here. So I got no times available in March. So we're going to look at April. And then what this does is it perfectly syncs with my own Google Calendar. So for example, I have this meetup tonight. So it blocked me off for that time. And then I have these little things up here. For example, like if I just don't want people to schedule appointments those days because I got other things going on in my personal life. But for example, everything that you see in purple, those get blocked off just because every day I take a break for lunch and a workout right here. And then I take my dog out and then I learn a little bit of coding. And then I have dinner around this time almost every single day. And you'll see like if you try and schedule a time, those are blocked off. So I don't ever have to worry about someone interfering with these times. It syncs with my Google Calendar, and then things will get actively put on there. So here were some discovery calls that I had earlier this week with people that scheduled on my Calendly, and you'll see all the information that they have right here. And Calendly is great. So let's say someone wants to book a time with me tomorrow at 10 a.m. Well, then they put in their name, email, and then they get to choose how they want to meet with me. Some people prefer Google Meet. Some people prefer Zoom, others want a phone call, and then this just allows us to get everything put together. There's no back and forth in email saying, hey, does this time work? Oh, no, it really doesn't for me. How about this time? Oh, nope, sorry, that doesn't for me. I used to spend so much time in emails just like putting together a time that works best for everyone, and a calendar application solves that problem. And again, Calendly is free. I'm using the free version. It gets the job done. You could get a lot more calendars if you had the paid one, but I'm just using one calendar. I used to have a few, but this gets everything that I need done, and it's free. And then I have two other calendars. So I use HubSpot's native calendar. And again, this one also syncs with Google. So like no one can book those times that I specifically don't want them to. And then this one I use more for clients because there's a limitation to the HubSpot free calendar. So if someone goes to choose this time, there's only really 2 questions that I can ask them. So this isn't good for like an initial meeting because I don't have their phone number, and then I don't have like a spot to add a field saying like, what do you want to go over? I use Calendly for that because here I can ask custom questions like, please share anything that will help prepare for this meeting. And I get these things of like where they want to meet. I don't have that flexibility in the free version of HubSpot's calendar. If you get the paid premium version of HubSpot, you get so many features incorporated in this. But like I said, I like free things, helps me save monthly overhead. And this works perfectly for just my clients because they go in, they put their name, email address, and it's automatically tied to their HubSpot contact information. So I already have their phone number. I already know how they prefer to meet. So I don't need to go ask for that information. It's already there. So like I said, this one's for my clients. These ones are for new clients. And then I have an additional Acuity calendar. And this is only if I want to take a deposit before I meet with someone, because I do these strategy sessions where they're paid and they get like a digital strategy guide if they purchase this consultation that I offer. And Acuity's free calendar allows you to take deposits. Calendly, you have to get the premium one in order to do that. But the one thing I don't like about Calendly is it doesn't sync with my Google Calendar. So I have to be really diligent about the times that I set up on there. And I rarely ever use this one. It's like I said, it's only if I need to have some sort of deposit implemented with it. And I rarely ever need a deposit. Sometimes I'll just bill people through PayPal or something like that. So Acuity doesn't really get used, but someone might see the advantages to this. So I figured I'd mention it in this presentation. So let me close these. Next is my favorite, Zapier. So Zapier is like, it helps reduce the amount of times you have to copy paste, and it helps trigger certain things. I'm using the free version. Very soon I will be getting the paid premium one because there's so much more you can do. With the free one, you're very limited. You get 5 zaps, and then you get a limited amount of tasks that you can do, and you only can do one stage zaps. So I can only do one thing. I can only have one trigger and one action. With the paid one, you can get one trigger and then multiple actions, and I'll show an example of that in a little bit. But in my own business, I use this for anytime something gets put on my calendar, I get a text alert about it, just so that way I have that on hand in case like the application or something that isn't working. And when I was mentioning that all my contacts go to Mailchimp, I have a Zap that sends that information over from HubSpot to Mailchimp. And then I have another one where, for example, if I have something in my email and I need it to get recorded in my HubSpot account, I have another Zap for that. And then I have another one for sales. So anytime I have like a deal that goes through with a client, it gets put on my like accounting spreadsheet that I have in Google Drive. Oh, and then another one is Novo. So Novo is my bank that I use. Anytime I get paid or there's a payment that goes through my bank account, I get a text alert through it. So that's why I love Zapier. It allows you to have all these kind of automations that make workflow simpler. And then here's an example of something that I'm building for a client in Zapier. So he has the pro plan, so he gets every kind of feature offered, and this isn't a free thing. It's just showing what the applications are if you do purchase a Zapier plan. And we're building out this full automation system. So pretty much like once the second someone reaches out to him on his website, there's this whole automation process that everything gets taken care of pretty much automatically until there needs to be a human interaction. And then from those points on, everything is synced together with all of his applications, from his CRM to his task management to his Google Drive to his company cam. And that's the beauty of Zapier, is it reduces the amount that you personally have to do to facilitate like sales or anything else that you do within your own business. Save it for computers. If you like the automation thing and you're using a free version, there's another application that you can use called Automate.io, which is pretty much the same thing as Zapier, except it doesn't have as many connected applications within it. But I love using free software, so I have a free plan on Zapier, and if I need to get something else implemented, I'll use Automate.io for it, just so that way I can have 2 free plans and still get what I need done. And then some other things that aren't included on my website that I feel like are important to mention that are free to utilize. This is Phantom Buster, and this is good for like kind of scraping things off the web. So for example, The most common application that I'll use for it is I will generate an email list based off Instagram hashtags. So I'll use this thing that specifically identifies hashtags on like top performing posts. And then from there, I'll use another one of these scrapers to then find the email addresses of any accounts that posted that hashtag, which helps me just build a cold email list. Another great free tool is Asana, and this is good for like task management if you have anything going on. So for example, I don't have anything here. I don't really use too many of these. I used to use this in the past, but now I use my HubSpot account for task management. But this is just great. I know a lot of people really like Asana. So if you need kind of like a to-do list and you have multiple people in like that need to all have input on things together, Asana is perfect for that. Pexels is what I use for anything on the web. If I need to really spruce something up, I'll use their free videos as well as photos. And there's so many different things where you can get free stock photos. I just like Pexels the most. Another one is like Placeit and another one also is like Canva. These are great for just kind of any kind of design stuff that you need. Miro, another great free tool to use if you like boards. I personally don't use boards in my business, but I know a lot of people utilize these, and they have a great free pricing structure if you're interested in. And then for the example of this meetup group, I use RingCentral because you don't have to pay for the premium Zoom where you have more than one person comes in. This way we can have multiple people join. If multiple people do join these webinars that I do, RingCentral works perfect for that. So if you're trying to find a solution where you don't want to pay for Zoom and have multiple people join a call, RingCentral's Glip is the thing to use for that. And then always I like to just recommend a free QR code generator because QR codes are the way of the future. And I've seen like my old agency, for example, would charge like $200 to generate a QR code, which I thought was ludicrous, but people apparently didn't know how to do it themselves. So I always like to just say, make sure you use a free QR code generator rather than pay someone else to do it. That's my presentation, and hope you guys enjoy.